Hello, everyone, and welcome to yet another session of Reset with Coach Lowe. I am always excited and ready for whatever. I'm really excited about this season because we're talking about transition. And transition is very important because change is inevitable. And so, as you have seen, I have done several interviews, some phone, some live. And so you have had the opportunity to already hear from two amazing women, both Angelas, one Angela Richardson Allen and one Angela Ransom Jones. And so today we are going to talk about the transition as it relates to next seasons of life. Um, one of my friends, she wrote in and she was sharing with me some of the things about a new season that she's about to walk through. I knew that this season was coming and I knew that there were some challenges and some fears connected to that. And so I reached out to her to see if she would be willing to share with us. And she said yes. So I have her responses via email. And so I wanted to just share them with you. And so as it went, I asked her to share a brief summary of her current transition as she moves into her own new space. So she wanted to lay a bit of groundwork. So her response was to lay the groundwork for this. I like to tell a little bit of my story. I grew up in a loving home with both parents who have been married for almost 29 years. 29 years. That's really, really a big deal. And I just so happened to be very, very close to her parents. They were formerly big brother and big sister to both my ex-husband and I, but they were also marriage mentors to us. And they played a very, very solid, positive role in our marriage in that season of our lives. So I happen to know this family very, very good. And this young lady says that after graduating from college, I got married and moved to Houston only to have my marriage end after 9 months. I have since moved back to Dallas and have been living with my parents. They welcomed me back home with open arms and really allowed me to heal and get back on my feet. I have been living at home for 2 years now. Tomorrow, which is Saturday, she will move into her own place. So imagine that she's in this situation where she leaves her parents' house and she is now uh she leaves her parents' house, gets married, things fall through after 9 months, and then she has to return. Just that transition by itself, after leaving your parents' home, most of us know, even after you return back to your parents' house after being away to college for your first semester, it's a major adjustment because what I've learned, even from being an empty nester and having our youngest daughter come back to visit me since that time, she is someone pretty different now. So she is managing her life on her own terms. She's figuring things out. She's working things out. And so it's been an interesting time. So I could only imagine what it was like returning back home. But she said yes to the process. And so I think that that is phenomenal. So then I asked her the question, do you view the move as a positive or a negative? She said it is absolutely a positive. She says, I don't view my moving out as just moving out. I view it as my second chance. I think that that's powerful. My new beginning, a clean slate for her. Moving back in her parents' home was a time of nesting, and she believed God allowed it, not just because she was healing from a divorce, but because He wanted to heal some things in her relationship with her parents as well. I needed to confront some of my own dysfunction in relation to my family. And interestingly enough, she says that kind of dysfunction bleeds into every other area of life and every relationship. That's why it's so important to become whole before entering relationships with someone else. This little sugar right here, she is a powerhouse and she is just amazing. And I just really wanted her to share this because sometimes we go through uh, different times in our journey called life, and we have to backtrack, but we have to understand what it is that we're supposed to gain in that season. And so her name is Amber. And so I believe that Amber is beginning to realize, why God allowed her to be there, why God allowed her to have parents that would allow her to come back into their space and do what was necessary for her. So that was absolutely wonderful. And then I asked her, so why now? Why now the season of transition? Why now would she be moving? And so she says, I had been seeking God about this, and I guess you can say I was waiting for perfect conditions. Yeah, about that. We know that conditions are never quite perfect, right? She said, all the while, I didn't realize that I was waiting on God to make perfect conditions, and He was waiting on me to jump and trust Him in the imperfect conditions. Wow, that was powerful. I realized I was only feeling stuck because I chose to stay where I was. It was a choice. So you will hear me over and over and over and over again saying that your life is clearly a story that reveals the choices that you've made over time. And so for Amber, she's saying, I'm stuck because I chose to be. I like to be comfortable. So she said it was a choice. I chose comfort over anything else. Yes, I paid all my own bills and assisted my parents in ways that I could, but still didn't feel like I was thriving in my adult life. God has taken such great care of me. I've seen Him do some really cool things over the past several years since the divorce was final. I've gotten to know Him as my comforter, my healer, my nurturer, my best friend. Now I'm going to be able to experience Him in new ways. I'm sure I will get to know Him as my rock, my provider, and ultimately my husband. Wow, 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 wow. This young lady is just really she's getting it. She has began to see that in transition, as we say yes to the process, as we embrace the transitions of life, God reveals himself to us in ways that we have never experienced before. I was talking to a friend of mine today, and I was just sharing with her all of the different ways that I got to know God when I divorced 3 years ago. And so it was an interesting time because I got to know him as comforter and nurturer and healer and provider in a magnitude that before I had gone through that season of life, I had not known him by experience, but only by knowledge or limited experience. But I was desperate in that season because I didn't know what was happening. Things were just, the reality of my life was just pulled out from under me, and a truth was revealed that ended my life as I knew it. So here it is, she's saying, you know, God is showing me different parts of who he is in ways that I've never known before because I'm trusting him. I'm choosing to trust him in this season. And so I'm going to move on because I could stick right there. So she said, I asked her, what do you seek to gain from this move? And she says, like I said earlier, this move is not just about physical location. It is about identity for me. It is time for me to become my own person. The thing I am looking forward to most is a new kind of relationship with my parents. That is so sweet. Um, my prayer has been, Lord, redeem the time and allow me to really enjoy, cherish, and honor my parents in a way that is pleasing to Him. I love them dearly, but I am ready for a new kind of experience, and I am sure they feel the same way. This separation will allow for me physically, emotionally, and spiritually to just take care of me for a season. It's time for me to take care of me. And in taking care of me and truly loving me, I will be able to do that for others. I plan on serving and volunteering more, continuing to build my virtual assistance business, and even begin writing my first book. Wow. Purpose. It just sounds like purpose is being birthed out of her. She recognized that it sounds like she has done some things to please her parents, and all of that is good. But as an adult, you move into a season where you do want to become your own person, and it's natural and it should be allowed. And so with her parents being who they are, I am sure that they are fully supporting her. So I just want to say congratulations to you, Sugar. She is just an amazing purpose, and God is just doing some great things out of her, through her, and through the process. She's saying that she desires to write a book. She's desiring to impart to others and love others and volunteer and serve in whatever capacities that she's able to. And I just know that God is going to continue to do the work of healing like never before in her life. So this is just amazing. So I asked, have you began to sense a nervousness about her decision to step out on her own? And she says, absolutely. I am naturally a contemplator and analyzer. So I have contemplated and analyzed about 100 different possible scenarios. There's always a level of uncertainty when you take a leap of faith, she says. But God has shown himself and proven himself to me time and time again. So much so that it would be absolutely foolish for me not to trust him. The last time I moved out, it was because I started a new life with someone. Now it's starting a new life with herself. That is awesome and that is powerful. I couldn't be happier about my decision, but there is a natural element of nervousness that's there as well. But no matter how nervous I feel, I owe it to myself. So what I hear her saying is, despite the challenges of being nervous and all of these different things, she is still choosing to be afraid and still move forward. So it sounds like the time has come in her transition where the pain of not being fully who she needs to be um, is greater than the pain or the feel of moving or the fear of moving forward. So she is choosing to move forward despite her fear. Today, I want to encourage you to do the same thing as you are facing the Red Sea in front of you and Pharaoh's army behind you. You're fearing moving forward because you don't know what tomorrow holds. But you fear going back because of the issues that are not resolved back there. And so those things behind you can be painful to face, but you have to make a decision. And so she is making a decision. She has already made a decision to deal with what was behind. Now she stands and she's trusting God to part the Red Sea in front of her so that she can move through on dry land as God has promised each of us. So I am looking forward to what God is going to do in her life, just like I'm looking forward to what God is going to do in your life. I then asked her, what encouragement would you lend to someone who is struggling with moving, whether moving forward in whatever, but there's fear and there's feelings of immaturity, and you don't feel like you have what it takes to keep going. This is what she said as an encouragement. She said, I was spending time with God one morning and just asking him what I should do. There was a complex that I really wanted to live in. It was slightly out of my budget. So I was seeking him about every little part of this process. You know, moving is expensive. Yes, it is. She says there's not just rent, there's utility, insurance, furniture, food, necessities, etc. I was asking him to guide my steps. The cry of my heart was just for God to be all the way involved in this process. I asked him if it's a good idea for me to apply at this complex, and I will never forget his reply. He said, if what you're really asking me is if I will take care of you, the answer is yes. If you are asking me if I will provide for you, the answer is yes. If you are asking me if I am going to uphold my promise to do exceedingly abundantly above all you might ask or think, the answer is yes. If you are asking me if I'm still going to be the same to you that I've always been, the answer is yes. If you are not really asking me if I want you to take this step. You are asking me if I'm going to take care of you. The answer is yes. I love how God gets to the heart of the matter, she said. I ended up not applying to that complex after all, but God's response to me was priceless. And what I really needed to know, and and what I really needed to know. And my encouragement would be, get to the heart of the matter, is what Amber says. God's heart. The heart of the matter is God's heart. He's a good father that you can trust. He's a perfect father. His heart towards you is pure. He has no ulterior motives. He's not setting you up for failure. He longs for the opportunity to show himself on your behalf. Provide him that opportunity by taking a step of faith, even if you do it trembling. Wow. That's another wowzer for me, because I'm just like, wow. Look at the heart of God. His promises are yes and amen to his children. If you think about a healthy parent, even in the natural, there's no good thing that we would withhold from our children if it is in our reach, if it is in our possession, if it is even if we know someone that has what they need and we don't have it in our hand yet, we're going to do what it takes to make sure that our children get what they need. So when she's talking about a good father, no matter what your transition look like, the Lord will go before you to make your path straight. The Lord will make a way in dry places. He'll give you water. He'll refresh you. He'll restore you. He'll reset you in your mind. He'll reset your heart. He will reset your life, your circumstances. He will do it for you, just as he is doing it for Amber. So I asked Amber if she would please share a short prayer with the viewing audience. Thank you so much for being here today. And she said, sure. And she said, Father, I pray for anyone watching this who may be struggling with the decision to step out and move out of their comfort zone. I pray that they would not seek comfort, but the comforter. I pray that you would give them the mind, the wisdom, the strategy they need to take that step. Help them to trust you. Open their eyes to see that they don't just need to make a move, they deserve to make a move. In Jesus' name, amen. Wow, that was really, really powerful. And I am just so grateful for the women that God has placed around me. Most of these women, I have had some level of influence in their lives as it related to mentoring of some type, or being an advisor of some kind, or just having girlfriend time and talking through some of the challenges that we face as women. So I'm excited about everything that is happening. God has been faithful. He has been very, very faithful to myself. And I am sure that if you could just think back, not very far, but if you could just think this morning, if you could just think just a moment ago, some people didn't wake up this morning. You are well and you are alive. But for someone else, they didn't even make it home back to their families. And so there are so many things that could be going on that are not. So I just want to find for each of us a safe place where we can reset and just thank God for where we are. And that even in those transitions come to make us stronger. Those transitions come to pull things out of us that we never knew were present. The transitions come to sharpen us and make us aware of the things of God and what God comes and wants to do differently in our lives. Transition is everything, and it is very necessary because it's going to happen whether we say yes or no. So do not be left behind. Trust God for the transition, whatever transition you may find yourself in. Trust God for the reset. Think differently about your situation and know and be encouraged that God will carry you through. Thank you so much today for joining me. And I will see you again next time on Reset with Coach Lowe. Make it a great weekend. Bye now.